Hi there! In this video, we will discuss the summary of the 21st chapter of Noli Me Tangere by Dr. Jose Rizal, titled The Story of a Mother. We will also study the important events, characters, settings, and lessons found in this chapter. Listen and watch carefully, as you will learn a lot from this historical work by Rizal. Let's begin. After hearing the news from the cook about the possible arrest of her children, Sisa hurried home. When she arrived, she saw the civil guards leaving their house, but her children were not with them. She felt a little relief, but it didn't last long. The civil guards stopped her on the road and forced her to confess about the missing 2 ounces of gold that her children were accused of stealing. Sisa begged for mercy, but no one listened to her. Instead, the civil guards dragged her to the barracks, humiliating her in front of the townspeople who had just come out of the church. When they reached the barracks, they threw her on the floor and no one cared to listen to her pleas. By noon, the alferez released her because he didn't believe the priest's accusations, and she returned home. When she got home, she searched for her children but found no one. The only thing she saw was Basilio's torn and bloodied clothes, which deepened her grief. Sisa couldn't accept what she saw, and her mind completely broke. She wandered the streets, calling out the names of her children, Basilio and Crispin. Now, let's move on to the important events in this chapter. Sisa rushed home after hearing the news from the cook about the possible arrest of her children. Sisa faced the civil guards, who forced her to confess about the missing 2 ounces of gold and dragged her to the barracks. Sisa was humiliated in front of the townspeople, who witnessed her being dragged by the civil guards. Sisa returned home and found Basilio's bloodied clothes, which pushed her to lose her sanity. Sisa wandered the streets, marking her complete mental breakdown. Important characters. Sisa, a loving mother who was deeply worried about her children, Basilio and Crispin. This chapter shows her suffering and despair when she couldn't find her children and saw Basilio's bloodied clothes. Civil guards, heartless soldiers who dragged Sisa to the barracks, forcing her to confess to a crime she didn't commit. They showed their cruelty and lack of compassion in this chapter. Crispin, Sisa's younger son, who caused her great worry. Basilio, Sisa's older son, who left behind torn and bloodied clothes at their home, hinting at danger or tragedy. Alferez, the officer who ordered Sisa's release at noon. Although he freed her, he showed no concern for her suffering. Townspeople, people who had just come out of the church after Mass. They witnessed Sisa being dragged but did nothing to help her. Let us now proceed to the setting of this chapter. The story takes place on the streets of San Diego, at Sisa's house, and at the barracks where she was taken and later released. These places witnessed the cruelty and suffering Sisa endured. Here are some of the lessons, messages, or implications shown in this chapter. This chapter shows the injustice experienced by the poor and powerless in society. Sisa, a simple mother, became a victim of the cruelty and indifference of those in power. Sisa's deep love for her children is an example of unconditional and sacrificial maternal love. Despite all the pain and hardship, she continued to think of her children's well-being. Sisa's experience shows the profound impact of abuse and cruelty on a person. The inhumane treatment she endured pushed her to lose her sanity. This chapter is a reminder of society's lack of compassion for the oppressed and vulnerable. In the face of cruelty, the townspeople did nothing to help Sisa, showing a lack of concern for others. Sisa's mental breakdown symbolizes the breakdown of the family and the collapse of a society without justice and equality. It highlights the dangers of a system that oppresses the defenseless. And that concludes the 21st chapter of Noli Me Tangere, titled The Story of a Mother. What have you learned from this chapter? Share your answers in the comments. We also encourage you to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated with our future videos. Until next time, thank you for watching.